Why is Bitcoin a currency? What does a currency actually do? What makes a good currency? And why do some currencies fail? That's exactly what we're going to cover in these next 3 lessons by introducing the 3 main kinds of currencies and why they have, on some level, failed to serve a growing global economy, starting with commodity currency. Throughout history, people have always needed a unit of exchange to buy stuff and measure wealth. The people of Yap Island used rice stones, the people of West Africa used agri-beads, the Maldivian people used cowrie shells, Europeans created coins out of gold, silver and copper during the Industrial Revolution. These are all examples of a unit of exchange, or something that you use to buy goods and services with. These units of exchange worked well for a time before they became impractical and eventually lost their value. You see, a good unit of exchange has 6 key traits. It should be durable, portable, divisible, uniform, limited in supply, and acceptable. If any one of these 6 key traits are compromised, there's a chance the unit of exchange will fail and be replaced by something better. In his book, The Bitcoin Standard, Saifedean Ammous tells the tale of how rice stones failed as a unit of exchange. Rice stones were used for hundreds of years by the people of Yap Island, which is today part of the Federated States of Micronesia. Rice stones came in the form of large circular discs with a hole in the middle and weighed up to 4 metric tons, making them incredibly durable. The rice stones came in different sizes but were uniform in what they were made of. The rice stones were limited in supply since they were not native to Yap Island and had to be quarried from neighbouring Palau and Guam. The rice stones were pretty difficult to transport and sometimes required hundreds of people to bring them to Yap Island. Once the rice stones arrived on Yap Island, they were placed in a central location so the townspeople could gather and unanimously decide the new owner of the rice stones. The owner could make payment with the rice stones without having to move it, even if they only needed to pay for something with a fraction of the rice stone. This made rice stones divisible. If the owner decided to sell or gift the rice stone, they would announce it to the Yapese people, who would all recognise the transfer of ownership from one person to another. The rice stone's lack of portability worked as a security feature of the payment system, since each rice stone was far too heavy to steal or hide. Better yet, trying to steal a rice stone would be pointless, since the townspeople already knew the true owner. Rice stones are a commodity currency. They derive intrinsic value from physical traits. Cowrie shells, agri-beads, coins, and even livestock are all types of commodity currency. Rice stones worked well for a unit of exchange for hundreds of years, and because rice stones were so difficult to acquire, there was a low risk of oversupply and thus a low risk of inflation. Everything went downhill for rice stones when in 1871, an Irish-American captain named David O'Keefe became shipwrecked on the shores of Yap Island. O'Keefe wanted to buy coconuts from the Yapese people and sell them to overseas producers of coconut oil, but he had no means to pay for them, and the Yapese people were not interested in any other forms of foreign currency he tried to offer them. So O'Keefe sailed to Hong Kong and returned with a large boat. He used explosive and other modern tools to quarry several large rice stones, which he planned to offer as payment in exchange for the coconuts. O'Keefe's plan didn't go down so well. The chief of Yap Island banned the Yapese people from accepting the rice stones because they were too easily acquired. Only those rice stones that were acquired with the sweat and blood of Yapese people would be acceptable. Some Yapese people disagreed and went against the chief's orders by supplying O'Keefe with the coconuts in exchange for the rice stones, which caused conflict on the island and resulted in the demise of rice stones altogether. O'Keefe had oversupplied Yap Islands with rice stones and diminished their value as a currency altogether. Rice stones were no longer accepted by all Yapese people, and eventually modern technology introduced cheaper and more efficient ways of creating and exchanging money. Nowadays, the Yapese people use government-issued money, or fiat currency, just like the rest of the world. And rice stones serve more of a ceremonial and cultural role on the island. Units of exchange evolve over time, and if it loses one or more of the 6 key traits, it's replaced by a better alternative. Bitcoin didn't appear out of nowhere, since new forms of currency are created in response to a problem, just like the Yapese people started using more modern forms of currency when rhinestones failed. There's something comforting in knowing that the introduction of new forms of currency isn't novel, it's normal. If history is known to repeat itself, is it possible that the currency we use today might fail too? Why would it fail? And if it does fail, what's a better unit of exchange? We're going to continue exploring the history of currency in the next 2 lessons. See you then.